Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Black Fitness Show, Fitness Talk. I'm your host Kevin. Today we have a great show. Before we start, I want everybody to comment so we can get the algorithm up. So you let everybody coming on. Today's show, you know the topic. Today's topic is: did fitness community create or influence fat shaming? So before we start the topic, I want everybody to introduce to the guest. Go ahead, Ja. Titus.
Hello.
Go ahead, Titus. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Well, ladies first. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I guess I must go then. Hello, everyone. My name is Jaya. I am the CEO of Bougie and Broke, and as well as I guess you could say, a social media influencer. If you might not know me, I have started the Millie Ringa. Hey, so I'm here to go ahead and speak on the journey, being that everybody in social media do know that I have had a weight loss journey. So yeah, I'm here to go ahead and talk with the fitness people. Let's go.
Titus.
I'm Titus Unlimited. I would consider myself a wellness advocate. I talk about being fit, mind, body, and soul. I am also a supplement company owner, Unlimited Supplements, and here to talk about the topic of the day.
Not, oh Lord, not.
You're close, Nyemade. Nyemade. It's all right. Hi, everyone. My name is Nyemade, or that African butterfly, as I'm known on social media. I do a whole host of different things on my personal page. I do a lot of IG live interviews with different people about different topics, really focusing on mental health a lot. And then I'm also the owner and founder of National Plus Guide, which is a website that we are building, which is sort of like a plus size directory for all things plus positive, just creating a space for people in larger bodies to find things that make it easier for them to find like-minded people, all of that.
And Dwight.
What's good, folks? It's Mr. Dance Your Pounds Off, as you see, Dwight Holt Jr., founder, owner of Dance Your Pounds Off. You might have seen a couple of my videos of some amazing people dancing their pounds off, and that's it.
All right, so now everybody we can talk. So did fitness community create or influence fat shaming? Titus, you can go first.
I would say no. The whole idea of fat shaming, frankly, in my humble opinion, is something that has arisen, and it's more so because of manipulation. If we look at the average size of the average human being over the last 40 plus years, it has drastically increased. Obesity in the United States has gone from 20% in 2000 to now almost 50%. Part of that is being overweight has become more acceptable, because now they put terms like fat shaming out there. And I would think that anyone can agree that our bodies, although we have different shapes and everybody does not have to be a supermodel, size 2 person, we're born with a certain frame. And when you exceed that frame, the only thing that can happen is problems. I don't agree with shaming anyone for being a particular size, but I do think when we get to a certain place where we are saying it's okay, that is what has led us to where we are now, with a national obesity rate of, last they checked 43, but I'm pretty sure since the pandemic has gone up, and an obesity rate for African-American women or women of color in the United States of 55%, which is the highest by a long shot, and some 42% or 45% for African-American men. which is still the highest in their demographic. And the reason why is because we accept it now. We don't talk about it. We don't point it out as being something like, hey, you should be cautioned about that. Everything is okay. And that's why 30% of children now are obese. And once again, facts over feelings. Just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're going to be healthy. But if you are obese, it will, not might, it will cause you health issues. And so, no, the fitness industry did not create it at all. You know, the word was created by people who want to manipulate people who are overweight into being comfortable with being overweight so that they can sell them stuff, they can market stuff to them. The average person who is overweight pays over $1,500 more per year in just health cost, healthcare, $1,500 more, let alone clothes and all those other things like that. So fat shaming and the word fat shaming has been strategically put out there because it's good business.
Okay, I'm gonna call you African butterfly.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I would love to speak to that. I think it's interesting as someone who obviously is in a very fit body to say that, you know, that it's become like more accepted and people don't speak out, because I can tell you people do not mince words and do not have a problem calling out fatness, saying anything about anybody who's overweight. To the question of, did it create it or does it influence it? I don't think it created it. I don't think so at all. I think that it definitely influences and impacts it. I'm not anti the fitness community. I love the fitness community. If anything, I'm trying to get back to my true love of the fitness community. And I'm always talking about my my personal journey to get back to being healthy and fit. But at the end of the day, that's my personal journey, right? It doesn't impact anybody else. And people should be allowed to be whatever size they want to be. More importantly, they deserve respect, whatever size they are. So nothing that Titus said was incorrect about health, about, you know, longevity, being fit. And I know all of those things, which is why I personally am trying to get to a certain size. But even if I were to say, you know what, I don't want to get more in shape and do all those things. Like, I want to be me, big and beautiful. Like, I don't care. Fat shaming comes in when people tell me that I, in my body, am not allowed to have body autonomy over what I want to do and over what I want to look like. Fat shaming comes in when someone is just taking a picture, like not even doing anything special. They just happen to be a larger body person posting a picture, living life, and in come the comments about glorifying obesity and, you know, being toxic and blah, 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 when they're just trying to live their life. No matter what size somebody is, they deserve respect. They deserve to live in their shoes and live the path that they want. It's not really on, people tend to place a lot of morality on size, right? Like, so if I'm bigger or if someone's bigger, they must be lazy, they must be a bum, they must not contribute. While some of us, like, I can't speak for anyone else, but I do a ton of things. And there are people who are smaller who don't. You can't necessarily look at someone and know exactly what they do and what they contribute. And I think for those of us who really fight more, I've recently heard the term like fat liberation, which I don't love, but I understand it. It's really speaking to the fact that not so much that, oh, it's okay to be fat as in go be fat, but it's speaking to the fact of, you still deserve respect. Like, I'm still a human being, whether I'm half my size, quarter of my size, this size, twice as big. Like, I still deserve all the same amounts of respect that someone in a smaller size and smaller body has. And that doesn't always happen. And so I do think the fitness community does help to contribute to that.
Jai, give your point, because I know you lost a few pounds. Can you tell me your experience?
So, being that I am in between both lifestyles currently right now, my highest weight was 400 pounds, and then now I'm moving down to the 200. So I'm losing above 200 pounds. So, like, I do understand both. But when it comes to the fitness community and when it comes to being overweight, it's all about perception, right? So everything things about perception. My experience as I lose more weight changes. The way I move, the way I feel changes. So I feel that when it comes to being overweight, my perception and honestly, to be honest, with the doctors say, I'm still considered overweight. So I mean, hello. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall, but I'm still in the 200s. So my BMI, the doctor's gonna say, yeah, girl, you overweight. You know. So personally, I do feel that. What analogy can I use? All right, let's just bring up Khloe Kardashian. I think there was a clip of her that expressed her feels of people that are overweight, and she feels like people need to get up and start moving and all that. But at one point, she was in the caliber of overweight. I feel that as you lose weight, you do change your perception and your eye of things and how you see people. I'm not gonna lie, there is something called body dysmorphia as well. So that's another thing. When I see, it's hard to explain because I'm in between, honestly. So in the fitness aspect, I'm like, yeah, I need to get better. I need to get to my best fit, my best body, which is what I feel is my best body. But overweight side of me, my perception is I'm still beautiful. I'm still amazing. I'm still liberated. I'm still happy I'm at now too. So personally, I feel like, okay, the fitness community does influence fat shaming, but us as being overweight also influence it ourselves. We project it on ourselves. We exude that energy, and we sit there and we project our, how can I say, we project our insecurities on other people that are that's fit. I never forget, I was in a BBW group, and even though I lost weight, but I'm still plus size. They said, "Oh, you're not like that. You're not this and that. You're not plus size like you're trying to leave us. You're trying this and that." So I feel like my journey from being in the plus size community and the fitness community, I feel like both of us portray, because I'm in the both sides, both of us portray fat shaming. I'm just gonna be blunt. I feel like both sides influence fat shaming, whether it's the fitness community or the people that are trying to get fit or the people that's not trying to get fit. I feel like we all, in a way, implement fat shaming. Yes, fat shaming is colloquial, and yes, it is a slang that we have brought up from the grave somehow. But I feel like all of us as a community influence fat shaming. So I'm in between, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I've been about this for a long time. That's the most I can say. I think people that are up in size, that are plus size, people that are fit, have influence on me.
Okay, and Dwight.
I kind of agree with what everybody said. But ultimately I feel as though everything and everybody influences fat shaming to a certain extent. When I think of fat shaming, I kind of think of, let's say, church. Does church influence sin? No, because of church, you know about sin, and maybe people look at it a different way because of what church teaches. It's like, does black influence white? No, but because we do know black, we look harder at white. So in the fitness industry, it's like, does it influence? It's like it just brings it about. But many things bring it about. Let's think about social media and these surgeries. When people have surgeries and now people want to look a certain way, it causes more people to shame another thing. I just feel like when it comes down to fat shaming in itself, it's very much so anti-fitness. It's very much so anti the fitness world, because if you do what I do, first of all, if we want you to come in and make a lifestyle change, it's all about love. It's all about health. Getting healthy is not one of those things that happens overnight. It does not. If it takes you 10 years to get to your biggest, it's not going to take you 2 months to get to your smallest. It's a lifestyle change. It's an everyday thing. A lot of people know my work with Monique. I've been with Monique for 6 years, and her weight fluctuates, but she's the healthiest that she's ever been. But it's a lifestyle change. So when it comes down to fat shaming, like, I don't think fat shaming truly exists in the fitness world for what fitness actually is. If the fitness world is supposed to be I'm going to inspire you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to push you to be the best you that you can be. I can't shame you because it runs you away. Now, is it around the fitness community? Yes, but that's what I call fake fitness. That's what I call people are trying to get you into the gym so they can make money. They're not really trying to create a lifestyle change for you. Because when it comes down to truly changing somebody, you know you have to affect them in their mental before you can with their body. That's why a lot of people, I don't knock anybody, live your life. But a lot of people who get surgery, they're slim, and then you see them 2 years later, now they gained it back because they were too much trying to change that out of them and they never touched the mental aspect of it. So in the fitness world, because I operate in a place of love and lifestyle, true change, I don't feel like true fitness condones fat shaming, if you would. So whenever I seen a topic and it was like fat shaming, I was like, oh Lord. Like I see it and people do it, but I think the people who do it are more so ignorant in their own lives and have their own insecurities, because I can't picture myself shaming anybody for anything, because everyone has their own walk and their journeys in life. But even now I can post about a 300-pound woman, and y'all probably seen it if you follow me, and they could be running in place for 1 minute. And that right there, they're doing an activity and they're doing things to better themselves and save their lives. But then you go to the comments, and it's like, look at her fat doing this, doing this, doing this. But then you go to their page and they're trolls. Mm-hmm. You go to their pages and the young lady that you're watching, she's running for a minute or jogging, or she's running to be the best person she could be. But I go to your page and you just ate a beef sandwich. Maybe you're no better than the next, but you're just too caught up and trying to shame and trying to project your own insecurities onto someone else that many people can't see it. So I think the world has a impact and influence on fat shaming. I just feel like the fitness world is the fitness world where people go to be the best them that they can be. So on the opposite end, it's like you have being the best and then what other people consider not to be fit. So yes, it has an influence, but like I said, when it comes to church has an influence on sin, but it's not,
Can I add something to that really quick?
Yes.
You made such a great point, and I actually was going to say it earlier and I didn't, which is that of all the people with the trolling, I have found people in the fitness community to be like the least of the fat shaming, because they get it, right? And something also that Jay mentioned about, like, if you're in the plus size community and you're trying to lose weight, like, you get it from both sides. So as much as I'm like love and respect everybody no matter what size they are, I've also always been open about my weight loss journey and my struggles with it. And there are people within the plus size community who will fat shame you for wanting to get smaller, because then you're not, accepting all. But that's why my main thing is body autonomy. And within the fitness community, I find that because they know the work it takes, they're the most supportive, right? So the people who are in the fitness, going to the gym, doing the meals, they know that it's hard work. So they support you when you have your little, whether you're going up or down, when they see you making an effort, I find that they're supportive. It's Joe Schmo who happens to have a good metabolism, who barely works out, who barely does anything, but sees you being overweight, that has all the comments to say about how you look and how fat you are. Or they try to mask it as like, oh, I care about your health, but they don't care about the health of like the skinny person drinking, eating a burger, doing all those things on their page, that suddenly like their health thing doesn't matter, because really they just care about how you look on the outside, and they care that they don't like how you look on the outside. And so they have things to say, versus I think sometimes with the fitness community, the ones who truly care about your health and stuff, and they're not trolling you on your size, and they're encouraging you when you're making those efforts. So I do think that as far as like the true fitness community, I have found that they've always been like the most supportive when they know that you're trying to make an effort and you're trying to better yourself.
Exactly. Personally, I feel like I'm in the middle of it once again, but also by personal experience. My oldest brother, he passed away at 23 years old in 2001, and he passed away playing basketball, and he had a clogged artery. He was the most fittest person you would meet, and he passed away for a clogged artery, and he was the fittest person in the world. So it's like, perception is a big deal. You can't judge a book by its cover. You can be the biggest person in the world, but the person that is the most fit is got the clogged artery. You know what I mean? So, like I said, my experience both ends. So I'm very neutral in this whole thing, to be honest with you guys. I've been feeling this. Told me the topic. I was like, man, I'm both sides. No.
Yeah, I wanted to add something really quickly, and just to touch on what Nyemade said. And I do agree that the people who are really into fitness, I always tell people it's very difficult being overweight. If you think it's easy, then you really have not really talked to or observed anybody who is overweight. You have physical issues, you have societal issues, but regardless of what you are, where you are, right, whether you're overweight or not, everybody does require and should be respected, regardless of size, regardless of physical appearance. This is not a thing about respect. But you made one comment about impact, okay? And, the other day we were talking about influencers. And, it's funny how you mentioned that even in the, plus size community, and I have a friend of mine who is plus size, and she's an influencer, and she has mentioned this to me, how in the plus size community, you literally have people who will shame you when you're trying to lose weight. And I find that to be amazing, that even in the plus size community, that people do project. A lot of times in the plus size community, people think people who are fit are thinking negatively about them, where in actuality, no, we're not. I know I'm not. When I see somebody who is, plus size, overweight, or what have you, in the gym, the first thought I have is, at least they're trying. And I try my best to help them in any way, shape, or form. But as far as impact goes, I think that's one place where people get it wrong, because, as a plus size person, especially if you're a parent, the children of people who are overweight are 65% more likely to be overweight, and 80% of them will not attain a regular weight ever in their life because of the environment they grew up around. So we have to be very mindful of the impact we have, especially if we're parents, and because we do set an example. So yes, you should have autonomy, but with that autonomy also comes certain levels of responsibility, especially if you have a child, and in our community, that's lost on some people, you know what I'm saying? And it's a hard conversation to have, because yes, you are, your body, your choice, but all our choices also have consequences for other people. The same way how I talk about, people who are rappers making certain types of music, right? When you're in a position of influence, and sometimes you're just influencing your child, but that influence has to be considered.
I mean, I think that's a really, really good point. And something you said also about, being bigger is hard too. Honestly, as much as I preach respecting everybody, no matter what size they are, and body autonomy, in which I agree with all of that, I also wouldn't wish fatness on anybody. Like, if I could snap my fingers and be a smaller size, if I could have never started yo-yo dieting. And I think that, for me personally, part of the problem was, like, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. And sometimes Black girls were just a little bit thicker, not like super big, but a little bit thicker. But at a young age, we also develop faster. Well, when you're around a bunch of very skinny people and you're developing faster, and those are your influences, I was put into Weight Watchers when I was in middle school, started diet pills at the beginning of high school, thus began a lifetime of losing weight, gaining plus, losing weight, gaining plus. And I feel like if I had just been able to grow up with just healthy stuff, I did tennis, I did track, I was fairly healthy. I was a little chunkier, but I was fairly healthy at a younger size. I think that if we sort of teach that love of exercise in a way of loving body movements, like then you wouldn't grow up having to change it. Like I'm now in my 30s, having to literally force myself to remember that I like moving. You know, for so long, it's been that exercise is almost a punishment because it's that thing you do when you want to lose weight, right? You eat a salad because you want to lose weight. And I had to sort of reprogram my brain to be like, well, no, you actually like salads and you love boxing, you love dancing, you like going out. It's just that because of the yo-yo dieting, you've gotten to a point where doing all those things have now become so hard that you don't want to do them, but you have to do them to be able to do them. Like it starts you in this awful vicious cycle that's hard to get out of. So I think that you can be on both sides of it, right? At least I am, which, you know, as Jay said, sometimes gets you flack, but I am on the side of like, yes, you, however you want to live your life, do it. But I think you mentioned, Titus, that you do sometimes impact the people around you, and you still have to be aware of that and just feel out how you want to deal with that. And I know like impacts me, and I hate it sometimes, you know, and I'm honest about that. But I still don't feel like I should be like, that's on me to deal with. That's not on a stranger to place judgment on me because of how
Absolutely right.
person who impacts me or who I'm impacting. I think you do have a level of responsibility, of course, to the people in your life and to yourself. Like I said, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I don't think that me thinking any of those things means that someone out of the blue gets to place moral judgment on me or gets to make mean comments to me just because they don't like the way I look, because I wasn't put on this earth for their pleasure or for them to look at.
Somebody,
I can definitely respect that, and I'm glad that you made the statement that you did make, that, you know, it is difficult. A lot of people don't get it. It's very difficult being overweight. And when I talk about responsibility, it's not on me to remind you of your responsibility, but
right.
For me, it's more so about just saying, hey, you do have influence over people, and especially if you're a parent, be mindful of the influence you have over your children. And, you know, it is a measurable influence that you have. And so it's something to keep in mind, if you will. That's all.
Yeah, no,
And it's so beautiful nowadays, even listening to you and what you were saying, because there's so many different fitness programs that are considered fun. Like now, in this day and time, like all fitness isn't like, for example, dancing. I've developed over 1 million followers only from my platform, because this platform is just moving and things as a Black community. Like we're born to a beat, we're born moving. And so to be able to make it fun, from dancing to trampoline to now they got like skate fit clubs. Like there's so many different avenues that you can take to become more healthy and get active. And I think it's important because, like Titus was said, when it comes to being a parent and when it comes to having a responsibility, you're able to put your children in some fun activities. You're able to make eating fun when it's eating healthy. I know a lot of parents who have taken a stance and they've realized that one child is bigger than the other children. So they're like, you know what, when it comes to lunch, I'm not going to let you eat school lunch. We're going to pack your lunch every day. That way I know exactly what you're eating and I know exactly what's going in your mouth. I know some parents and clients who they don't feed their children any like fruit snacks from stores, but they actually take one day out of the week and they actually make little snack pouches once again, so they know exactly what their children are eating. So I think it's a very important responsibility, not only for the children, but like for influencers as such as ourselves to promote that. One thing in the fitness industry, whenever you're getting certifications, one of the first things you learn is that perception. It's like, it sounds so crazy, but one of the things you learn is like, don't pull up to a McDonald's drive-through and be ordering, because one of your clients may pass by and see you and say, well, if you can do it, then I can do it. Or you may trigger something in them and they're like, well, shoot, I wasn't going, but you eat now. It's certain things we do hold responsibilities when it comes to that. To go back to that fat shaming thing though, I don't know what rapper said it because I'm an R&B head, but they said self-love is the best love. And I really, truly believe that, because I feel as though no one can tell you something about you and you believe them if you love yourself enough. Like it's certain things people can't tell me about me because I'm like, nah, that's not me. So when it comes to fat shaming, I feel like it has to start with you inside. Like I know a lot of plus size women who lose weight and look in the mirror and still see that plus size girl. They still order clothes oversized because they still feel like it's still the same plus size. So normally it takes a picture and they see a picture and they like, oh shoot, well maybe I'm not who I used to be. So sometimes it requires that self-love. Sometimes it requires you to make a plan and to know that it's not once again going to happen overnight. Like I appreciate Titus because Titus is gonna come with the facts, with the numbers. I'm the type of person that says, okay, all right, Titus, we got the numbers. We see what we're doing. So how can we break this down and really make some lifestyle changes for some people? But not, it has to come from love. Once you put a little love in it, it's no longer that shaming aspect. It's not that auntie that look at you like, oh girl, you losing too much weight, girl, you look sick. It's not that. It's not that. It's that family member or that child coming to their mother and saying, hey mom, like I want you to meet your great grandkids. And in order to do that, I need you like to kind of get a little healthier. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let somebody else talk because somebody literally asked me yesterday. They were like, hey Dwight, my mother is getting a little big. She sat on the couch in Las Vegas. And when she got up, she was like, whoo, whoo, whoo. And he was like, how can I tell her without hurting her feelings? And I was like, well, let's talk about it. Let's number one, you can tell her like, hey mom, I know where you would like to be. And I know you probably don't like the stage that you're at. So, hey, let's go walking. I said, if you feel like she's going to be offended by that, do one better. When you come to her with it, have a plan afterwards. Say, hey, mom, I just signed you up for a 90-day fitness situation. You're going to absolutely love it. You love to dance. They're going to be dancing. Just go see if you like it. I've already paid for it. It's like when you come to somebody to tell them about themselves, come with a plan. Don't just come with an insult. I like an insult with a compliment. Put a little love in it and it changes the thing. So I don't agree, like I said, once again, with fat shaming. But when you bring love and you truly care about somebody and you want them to change, you have to come to them like that. So fat shaming is for the birds.
So I just want to talk about this because we talk about influencers and we have a person I probably heard of. Her name is Lizzo, and she's been going through a lot of fat shaming. And she created a body positivity movement. So I want to show y'all this video of her talking about that.
To have my ideal body type, and you know what type that is? None of your business.
Lizzo straight up drops the mic on all the body shamers.
Namaste. Have a great day.
Here's what went down. On Tuesday, the Grammy winner kept it real, like really real, on TikTok, posting a new video about her fitness routine and her self-love.
Hey, so I've been working out consistently for the last 5 years, and it may come as a surprise to some of y'all that I'm not working out to have your ideal body type. I'm working out to have my ideal body type. And you know what type that is? None of your business.
Oh, she said it. And she made sure everyone knew exactly who she was talking to. Captioning the clip, quote, "If you're not a fat shamer, keep scrolling." Okay, now that all the fat shamers are here.
I am beautiful. I am strong. I do my job. And I stay on my job. So next time you want to come to somebody and judge them, whether they drink kale smoothies or eat McDonald's or work out or not work out, how about you look at your own self and worry about your own damn body? Because health is not just determined on what you look like on the outside. Health is also what happens on the inside. And a lot of y'all need to do a cleanse for your insides.
And mic drop.
I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch, even when I'm crying crazy.
Yeah, she just took a DNA test and turns out she 100% wasn't done. The Truth Hurts singer also posted a clip of a dad and his 2 sons reading comments from an internet troll saying that the young boy needed to work out or he'd end up like Lizzo.
Your son needs to go and at least exercise or he's gonna be the next Lizzo?
Oh my gosh, Calvin, you're gonna be the next Lizzo! Let's go! Yeah, let's go!
The 32-year-old shared her reaction to the sweet clip, grinning ear to ear. As for her caption, Lizzo wrote, quote, "Oh, you mean the next $1 million dealing, cover of Vogue having, 3-time Grammy award winning icon, actress, activist with a perfect ass?"
I'm feeling.
So yeah, so I'm just showing that clip because Lizzo is a big influencer. To me, she remind me of my day and age of Monique used to be comedy for the big women and talk about big women and all that. So I'm just want to know: is it body positivity? Is it dangerous? Is it dangerous to show body positivity? Because I think we look at body more than health. So Titus, you could tell me what you think about that.
Well, first of all, that's exactly what I talk about when I say we're influencers. All right. And it might seem cute, but I don't find that cute at all because that's exactly what I'm talking about. Now you have a 13-year-old boy celebrating the fact that he is overweight, and a parent who doesn't even understand that boy doesn't even understand what high blood pressure, diabetes, and weight problems are all about. Having so much weight on your joints that it's uncomfortable to stand for a certain period of time. That boy is actually putting that boy's name on a list of many diseases, raising his possibilities of having those diseases, and they're thinking it's cute. Lizzo might be lucky that she may not have any health issues, but a lot of people who are that size are not that lucky. That boy doesn't have the same resources and the money, okay? And that's what I talk about when we talk about influence, all right? Think about the millions of little girls out there who are struggling with their weight, but because of that influence are thinking is okay, and they're gonna continue going until they get to the point where, they wind up being 400 pounds. And unlike some people who were fortunate enough to lose the weight, they don't. They die. They have strokes. They have debilitating illnesses. They have, a whole bunch of joint issues, spine issues, breathing issues, sleep apnea. This is serious, okay? And that's what I talk about when I talk about influence. And it does come from a place of love, right? Self-love. When I see someone behaving like that young lady behaves, right, there are other issues going on there. But because she has a platform, she can mask it as being positive and all that stuff like that. Because I'll be honest with you, if you really didn't care what people thought, you wouldn't spend that much energy making videos addressing people. All right? You wouldn't. You wouldn't be coming out on social media every other week crying about a comment somebody made. Granted, yes, people should not be making comments, but the kind of comments they make towards her, but at the same time, we can't say that she doesn't lend herself to that. But what are you using your influence for? You're a very talented, musician, and hopefully you got a good spirit and a good heart. But let's not be delusional and advise children that this is an acceptable route, because anybody who has ever been overweight, and I've been 240 pounds, which is not necessarily overweight, but that's much bigger than I am now, and I know how differently I felt, okay? And I can only imagine had I been 340 or 440 pounds. All right, we should not be encouraging people and making light of it, especially when we have the eye of children.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
So personally, I do feel that Titus, inadvertently, you are shaming right now. Inadvertently, the reason why I say is because in your perspective, you are coming from love, right? But inadvertently, you are shaming because at the same time, if a child is doing something wrong and you say to the child, shame on you, you're shaming that child for doing something that you believe is wrong, right? Perception. I personally feel that when it comes to the fitness community, and once again, being back and forth, inadvertent behavior such as all the time. I feel that in this moment with the child saying, yes, if that's who I'm going to be and this is who I am, how should the child had expressed it? You know, I feel like me personally, I was bigger. I didn't even notice I was big. That's the thing. I feel like I didn't even know that I was getting big. Same thing as Lizzo sitting there saying, this is who I am, love me or not. I don't think that she's telling the world, hey, you all need to be unhealthy. I think she's telling the world, love the skin you're in. You know, I feel that my biggest breaking point of when I realized that I got bigger, this is actually like a fun story, but at the same time, it was definitely through, was the roller coaster. I'm gonna tell you about that. I went to a amusement park, and me and my husband was on the line. And on the line, there was another fellow BBW getting on the roller coaster. Two men walked over to her and was pushing the what's it called? Pushing the
I know you're talking about like the little bar, the little seat at the bar, the seat.
Consistently on her. I looked at my husband. I said, "No, that's me. I'm not gonna be able to fit in that seat." He was like, "No," because he's blind too. It's like body dysmorphia reverse. He didn't notice it how big I was getting either. He was like, "No, you good. No, you're good. You're not like that. No, you're good." So next thing you know, I go into the roller coaster and I'm sitting there. He gets up and I'm having a hard time. He gets like, "Oh no, I got you. I'm gonna help you on this roller coaster. You know, I'm gonna help you. I got you." He pushes on the roller coaster multiple times, and I'm just looking. And two other guys tried to help him push the roller coaster on me, and it wasn't fastened. And he was like, "Something's wrong with this roller coaster." I'm like,
but Jai, can I come in with this?
yeah.
In your mindset, that's because you consider shaming yourself because you're ashamed what you seen with her on that roller coaster. You like, I don't want to be in that. You don't want to experience that. So you don't think that's also shaming yourself?
Honestly, I feel like looking at that perspective, I'm looking at her being my size, and I'm like, if she can't fit, I know, and I'm looking at myself, I know, simple just as that, I can't fit. Shaming myself, I think I simply just being realistic. I feel like when it comes to the world of social media, we try to depict this reality that's not really, how can I say, being woke to everything. I feel like simply I saw the body that I know I have, and I saw her in that, and you could not fit. And I said, you know what? I know I just can't fit. And right, I couldn't fit. But when I went down them stairs and I looked at myself in that little weird mirror they had in the amusement park, I said, man, it's time for a change. My husband, he rubbed my back, which I told him, please stop. It makes everything worse when you rub back. I said, just stop rubbing my back. He said, babe, it's okay. I said, man, like, I gotta lose this weight. And that's when I realized how big I was. That's when I said, whoa, like, this is real. I'm getting really big. Okay. And I felt like my goal in the beginning, the only reason I wanted to lose weight was to get back on that roller coaster again. That was my main.
Now, let me just address something real quick before you go, Dwight. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to shame a child, because a child doesn't know, and that's the point. We have influence over these children, and they don't even know what they're picking. So I can't possibly try to shame a child who doesn't know. What I am saying is that as an influencer, at worst, that should have been a wake-up call to her parents, to the kid's parent, and to her. What message are you sending? Because you know what? That is a very dangerous message to send to a child who doesn't know better. All he sees is a star. All he sees is someone popular. And all he sees is that I've been compared to Lizzo. And he thinks it's cute. What he doesn't see is all the rest of the ramifications that come with that. Okay?
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Africa Butterfly, go ahead.
So I was going to say, back to when Titus was speaking, I both completely agree and completely disagree with two parts of what you're saying. So first and foremost, like when you're an influencer, like Lizzo is a good example of what I mean when I say like body autonomy. Like you're not there to be everything for everyone. That's just not, you're not going to be everything for everyone. And I think that where I say I completely agree with you is I wouldn't encourage a child to want to be bigger, to want to be unhealthy. I wish that, like I said, I wish that I had gotten into better habits when I was younger, but I know it's also hard as a parent to get them into those habits while also teaching them to love themselves. Honestly, when I was younger, I wish there was a Lizzo around because I was active. Like the thing with Lizzo is it's not like she's like just doing junk and saying like, get bigger and better. Like she's working out, she's dancing, she's doing full shows. Yes, she's bigger, but she's bigger while also trying to live like a healthier life. And I think that if I had had that younger, then I would have grown up with a much healthier relationship around food and working out and being active. Sure, I wouldn't have been everyone's cup of tea because I would not be super slim or super small, but I would be healthier. And I think that you need people like Lizzo because they help you have self-love in a different way. I once had a trainer say, like, obviously if someone's big that they don't have self-love, because if you love yourself, you don't let yourself get there and do those things. And it really shook me because I've always like, no, I love myself. And I had to come to the realization that I do love myself, but I love myself like an overindulgent parent, not like someone who's trying to discipline and do the right thing. So, like that parent that lets their kids get away with stuff, like an enabler, that's the word. I love myself.
Is that love though?
It is. Well, it is. I mean, I do love myself. And, but what I was going to say is that when you also love yourself in a different way, you, I think, do better from a place of love. So like for me, when I'm trying to be healthier and do things, it's because I love myself to want to be more active, to want to dance more. Like I love myself to want to be able to get to a smaller size so I can stay out dancing, so I can go on hikes, so I can do all the thing and live the life to the fullest version of whatever my version of the fullest life is. And I just know internally I'm more active. And so I want to get there, but hating myself isn't going to get me there. And I think a lot of people think like, oh, just think of the negatives, think of all the things you want to improve. Well, that makes me depressed. And then I want to slip. And then I, like it brings me back down in that cycle. But I think that when you truly love yourself in a different way, and I get that that's why you're asking me, like, do you really love yourself if you're being indulgent?
No, I wasn't asking you that. I was asking the overindulgent parent. Is that love?
Is that love? Right. But like, right. So what I'm saying though is like, as far as like with myself though, like when you get to that place of love, it sort of changes you, because while like, yes, I love myself and I want to enable myself to sleep in, but I think of the love I have when I get to do more things. So now, even though I don't want to wake up and work out, I'm going to wake up and work out, because you have to do the difficult thing in the now to get what you want later. But it all has to come from, like Dwight was saying, a place of love. Like that hating my body isn't going to get me out of bed in the morning. I mean, it might for some people, but loving myself,
it don't work for nobody.
It's going to get me up in the morning to do what I need to do to continue on. So she's kind of like what I mean. Like I do think that she's a good example for some people, because you do need to love yourself to move more and be active. But I would not have her as my example to a child that it's okay to be that big, like, and I think that's hard for parents. Yeah, and I would want to know your opinion, either you or Dwight, on how. Thankfully, I don't have kids, but I know, like I said, when I was a young age, my mom tried to, hey, you're getting bigger, I want you to be smaller, but it started being a vicious cycle of bad dieting that led me here. Versus if I had just stayed that size and continued to be active. So how does a parent find that love between like helping their kid get better, but not letting them feel shame for the fact that they're already chunky?
Really quick. So the first thing, let me go back to Lizzo. It is a very slippery slope when it comes to an influencer, because you want to be still human, but when you become an influencer, you're now a superhuman. So you really have to be cautious of the things you do. And it sucks because you're like, I'm still a human too. But at the end of the day, you become another parent. You have so many lives up under you and so many people that you affect that you really have to be careful because it can be a little dangerous. So when it comes to somebody like Lizzo, when I was watching the video, I was like, ugh, ugh, because it's like, I understand you're preaching self-love, but while preaching self-love, you do have to give a disclaimer. You have to say, hey, yes, I'm doing this, but this is where I am today. Like, say, this is where I am today, because like he said, tomorrow, Lizzo, it may be your breaking point. And now you're online crying, and now you're online saying, people are saying hurtful things to me, people are mean. So now people who were just looking at you because you had all the confidence in the world, now looking at you like, wait, was this true confidence, or were you truly like masking something? You have to, as an influencer, show people where you are during the journey so they don't get confused. Like, you have to say, hey, I am this big today, and I'm gonna love me like this today, but I'm also working out so I can have a better tomorrow. Like, at the end of the day, when she saw that little boy and he said what he said, it would have been so powerful to see her say, right, you better love yourself. And you know what? Together, we're going to be the best us that we can be. So when it comes to the parents, that's exactly what happens with the parents as well. Because with a parent, you say, hey, I'm not just going to send my child out to do it, but instead of just me changing your diet, the whole family are going to begin to be a little bit more active. The whole family is going to walk up Stone Mountain. The whole family is going to bike ride. Like, the whole family are going to make steps to become a better unit. And that's the thing. One of my clients and a good friend of mine, Brandy Mallory, she lost so much weight, and during the pandemic, she gained quite a bit back, and now she's back on the same journey. But I absolutely love, like, for her birthday and for festivities, she stopped doing it around food. So, you know, like, we celebrate with food. But instead of saying, hey, y'all, for my birthday, we're going out to dinner, she was like, hey, for my birthday, we meeting at the park. Hey, for my birthday, we're hosting this fitness fun class. It's like, as a community, we have to start coming together and bringing out these unhealthy lifestyles and bringing in other things to do for it. Like, that's how we're ultimately going to change. So as a parent, you just have to, for real, make a lifestyle change, but do it like with the family. Talk to the child, find interest in the child, find fun ways to do it. Don't just try to preach and shame, but actually teach. And I want to say that to Jai too, and Morris, Kev, I don't think acknowledging is shaming. Acknowledging something is not shaming it. Just to say what it is, I mean, it is what it is. If you are Black and I say you're Black, I'm not shaming you. Mm-hmm. But if I show like a little insult with it, like L, like something like that, that's where shaming comes in. So when it comes to the roller coaster, you saying, oh, this won't close on me, it won't close. Like, it won't close. But when you look in the mirror and you begin to get this and nasty attitude, that's when you're insulting yourself. That's when you're bringing shame to it. But to acknowledge, especially when you're coming, Titus, from a place of love, and you want somebody to change, to be able to stick around, to be able to have a healthier lifestyle, like, that's not shaming. It's having to let somebody know, hey, what you're doing is going to bring this into your life if you continue at this path. If you continue at this path, if you're a woman and you're trying to get pregnant, it's going to be a high-risk pregnancy. If you're a male and you want to do XYZ, like, I think acknowledging is not shaming, but it is a fine line. But when you are an influencer and you have a following, you have to be cautious of the things you do, because people are going to move like you move. You brought up Monique. When I tell you her comments, since she's slim and trim and dropped below 200, people are like, oh, you used to say fat women, skinny women are evil. Now you want to be one. It's like, what? We're shaming people for wanting to be a better them. We're shaming people because they actually want to be in a family photo and not have to squeeze and you can only see half of their face. Like, we're shaming them for that. I feel like as a community, we have to get better. When we see people bettering themselves, we have to push them. When we see people declining in health, we have to somehow make it fun and teach them without shaming them. I feel like that's our responsibility. But as an influencer, I know you want to be human, but that ain't it. You're superhuman. You've been called. You decide to answer. And at that moment, you have a responsibility.
And that's why I'm mindful with how I address people, you know, when it comes down to this, because you're right. we have to be mindful of how we address. So we come from a place of love, but we cannot be fake. We have to acknowledge that this obesity thing right now has a grip on our society, has a grip on our community, and is literally killing people by the millions. All right. And ignoring it and trying to gloss over it is not the move. We have to come from a place of love with it and say, hey, look, you know, everybody, listen, I tell my clients all the time, everybody doesn't have to be in shape. Everybody's not going to have a six pack. A lot of people don't even want a six pack. Okay. But being able to move your body as you please. You know, I worked with a client a couple months ago, and she hadn't been under 200 pounds since she was 12 years old. And now she has 2 daughters and a granddaughter. And she had finally gotten under 200 pounds. She started at 250. Now she's like 180 something. And she was playing with her granddaughter in the living room. And she got up off the floor. And her granddaughter said, Mama, you got off the floor without anybody helping. And that's the first time her granddaughter, as a toddler, saw that. Now imagine the impact. Now her other 2 daughters are now getting themselves in shape because they were overweight as well, right? But has she not acknowledged that she had an issue that had to be addressed? What happens to that toddler? That toddler grows up in an environment where the overweight is not acknowledged. And if it's not acknowledged, it's not addressed. If it's not addressed, it perpetuates. And that's what's been happening. It's being perpetuated. And as influencers, like you're right, okay? It'd be one thing if you're an overweight influencer or a plus size influencer and you're doing everything else, but you're not, you know, you're not even bothering. That's not even your bag. You know, you just being with, there's a lot of overweight people in doing different things, right? And they don't make their entire thing about that, right? But when you start to make that about that, okay, and you start to basically celebrate it, you're right. Now you're now sending a message that's dangerous. Okay, you're sending a message that's dangerous because, like you're right, you're a parent to a lot of people. You are a example to a lot of people. Me as a man, I'm an example to a lot of men and people in how I carry myself and how I comport myself when I'm, you know, on the camera and in the public eye. Okay. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I you know, there's certain things that you just can't be doing because it has ramifications.
I think that it. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like when it comes to social media, when it comes to being fit, that already Titus, Dwight, you guys are going to be looked automatically in a positive light. Someone such as Lizzo, myself, or
Nyemade.
Butterfly.
Butterfly.
When people look at us, we're on the iffy side. We're on the negative line. We're always depicted a certain way. So when I sit there and I'm talking to you, by the way, Titus, in this situation, I wasn't saying that you're shaming a child. What I'm saying is that when it comes to person being superhuman or human, regardless of the fact of what colloquial we use or what narrative we're building, you're human. Whatever you feel or whatever you exude, you're human. So me, if I'm the face and I'm Lizzo and I'm the face of being obese and I see someone as a child looking at me as something beautiful, I'm going to react as a thank you, and I'm going to do the same thing she's doing because I'm not looking at it as oh my God, I'm teaching him how to love his being overweight. I'm looking at it in a human perspective. I'm looking at it as there is someone that sees me beautiful regardless of the fact. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that you are for loving to be obese. I'm telling you that being Lizzo who she is, regardless of the fact superhuman or not, she's still human. And because she's already depicted as obese in the face in the dictionary, it's her face is right there. She's gonna automatically react as a human and be happy when a child is self-loving themselves and also saying, all right, that's who I am. I'm happy to be that. But doesn't mean that's why I have to be obese as her. She's already the depiction of that. So it's like, what I'm trying to say is that changing the narrative to make her beautiful instead of overweight. I think she was just basically proving a point, saying, okay, if somebody said that the person's looking like Lizzo, then should that be a compliment or should that be a, oh my God, you're fat, you're obese, you should hate yourself. I think the child actually expressed like, I'm still amazing, this is who I am. She just smiled at that. Okay. Because not weird or nothing. One last thing. Today, the reason why I'm really going about this today, as a Black woman, someone said, oh, you look like Leslie Jones. And in my mind, I'm like, okay. And when you tell a person, and what are they going to say after that? Just like the situation with the boy, how is he going to react? You want him to say ill? No? What? Cry? Say, that means obese? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm by saying, like, it's inadvertently shaming. And not saying that you're doing it to him or you're doing it, like, in general at him. I'm saying just the whole situation in general shaming. If you get what
I just really quickly wanted to speak to, I guess, sort of like, like when Dwight, you say, like, it's our responsibility, or Titus, to like help people and let them know. And it actually was interesting for me, J.I., when you said that you didn't realize you were that big, because my response is always like, I know, like, I don't need a stranger to tell me I'm fat. And even like acknowledging, like you said, Dwight, acknowledging that I'm fat is not fat shaming. Like it's a fact, like the sky is blue and I am fat. Like it's fat shaming if you come at it with me as it being a negative. But I like when strangers come out of nowhere, like unsolicited advice, opinion on stuff. Most of your overweight people know that they're overweight. They don't need you to come out and tell them. And they know, like, especially for me, because I am so much in social media, like when someone makes a comment, even if they're coming from a place of love, which I find it fake trolling when they do oh, I'm just giving you health advice. Because like I said, you're not giving the skinny person doing bad stuff health advice, just me, because you can see it on me. But it's like if my mom's saying something to me, my doctor's saying something to me, my mirror every morning saying something to me has not changed it. Like, what is your random comment doing except for making you feel better that you said something about something that you don't like? And you never know where people are in their journey. I remember once I just lost 50 pounds. I was going out. I was feeling good. I went to like the grocery store to get something. And I was getting in my car, and this random guy ran up to me and like gave me some like weight loss tip or advice or something. Like I got in my car and sobbed, because it was just a reminder for me that all people see is the fatness. Like they didn't see the work I had been putting in to lose those 50 pounds. And you just never know where someone is on their journey of weight loss and acceptance. Now it's different with your family and friends, obviously, because you have that relationship with them. But even then, I think you have to do it with a grain of salt when you're talking to them. Your person who has like their mom that they want to say something to. Because my mom and I went through a really difficult time with my weight loss, because she's one of those, like, if you notice something, see something. That's how you show love, which I get it. I got it the first time she said it. I got it the second time she said it. We don't need to keep saying it. And it was hard for me because I had the time lived far away. So I was only coming home once a year. So that once a year we were having that conversation, and it became where being around her was a point of anxiety for me, because I just knew that she wanted to bring it up and say it, and I didn't want to be alone with her. And I think that you can say it, have them acknowledge it, and move on from them. You don't necessarily need to say it all the time. And then also, I liked, Dwight, what you said about having like a plan, if you are going to them with something, but also try to think of it from where they're coming from as well. Like it may not always just be, because like with me, I've never been like, oh, I'm big, I love it. Like I'm always on that down 70, down 50, up and down, and I hate it. That's my personal struggle that I work with. But there are times where if someone tries to approach me about it, even family, where it's not necessarily you're saying no to them or not addressing it because you don't know. Like it's often but maybe there's something in it. Like I know sometimes, like I'm at this for a walk. Like I don't want you to see me struggling on a walk. Like, I'm sorry. Like I don't. It's not like, oh, I don't want to go for a family walk. It's the fact I know that you are going to go out and go for a walk, and you're not thinking that a walk for you is a walk. A walk for me is you and your best friend and that best friend on their back and going for a walk. Now we need to go really slow and walk far less, and we need to celebrate when I make it this far and come back. Is it my fault that I'm at that point where like that's where I need to start back? Yes, but I'm not going to put myself in a position where I feel like so vulnerable to someone that, like, if I don't feel like it's a safe space for me to have them show that, hey, I am really far below where I should be athletically. And I think that sometimes that's why a lot of people get trapped in being bigger. It's not even so much that you don't want to lose weight. It's not even so much that you don't want to get smaller. It's that like how, like, where you find the spot to make those changes without feeling like humiliated on some level that you let yourself.
But it is such a beautiful thing, though. It's such a beautiful thing. So like with my class, for example, like I get a lot of people who don't want to go to the gym because they feel as though people are watching them. So a lot of my clients start in my class, and then after say a couple months, they're like, hey, I went to the gym for the first time. I'm feeling it. I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that. But it would be so beautiful for you, and it takes time to get there. But when you just said, I don't want to go out there and I don't want to kind of do it because like I know I'm gonna be slowing people up, or I'm gonna be doing this. That is where you are. That's what we're saying. Like, love where you are, but show people your progression. Stop showing them I'm here now. Like, okay, I started here and then I disappear for 6 months and then I come back and now I'm doing. No, that helps the world when the world sees that you are human and they see you progressing. It is such a beautiful thing for me to go out and walk with a friend and be right beside them and speak their language. If you don't speak my language yet, I'm not looking for you to run up the hill, but I'm very excited for that day when you can. So if all we're doing is walking, I'm still getting a workout. Whether I'm running up the hill and it's taking me 10 minutes or I'm walking with you and it takes me an hour, it is so fulfilling to me because ultimately, excuse me, my phone just did some stuff, but ultimately what happens is we're two different places. So you doing that and going at a slow pace and a slow motion, that does something for me mentally. I may be going crazy at work with something where I feel like I'm not on somebody else's level. And the bigger lesson is when I see you fighting, now you make me fight. So you do me a disjustice when you don't want to walk in, not saying you in general, but people do other people a disjustice when they don't want to walk in their current truth, because you never know the impact that it may have on me, aside from your journey. Like it may be weight loss for you, but it may be something else for me. So it's like, I don't care what you're feeling like. If you feel like you're going to slow people up, don't stop that from calling somebody. Somebody else needs to see that. Somebody else needs to experience that. Like, and that's what helps the world. That's what we like, hey, Lizzo, like show them this whole process. Yes, make somebody feel good about where they are, but let's talk about where we want to be. Let's talk about what's next for us.
I agree. And I was just saying that, like, I think like someone like you would be good to have that. I think it's good to know the people in your life who are like that. So like the last time I went on a major weight loss, I had my friend Ray, who I felt comfortable and didn't judge me for his walks. So the first time we started walking, we'd walk a little bit and come back, and he's like, yeah, you know, great job. And a few weeks later, we were like walking a mile. And you know what I mean? Like, so I just feel like it's important when someone feels like they want to approach somebody about their weight loss or approach them about their health. As much as you said, like, you know where you are, know where the person you're approaching is at, and know that you need to like cheer them on for little steps, and know that for a lot of people, like something that may be simple for you, like I said, a simple walk, picture put on your back and going for a walk, and then figure out how you're going to walk with that person and help them, like, guys, where they are when you approach them.
And let me say this before y'all do that too, just to address that point. I understand when you said you got in the car and you sobbed. That's the human aspect of us. But understand that everybody doesn't speak your language. So when you have a teachable and a coachable moment like that, instead of put on your big girl pants, put on your big boy pants and hold a conversation and say, hey, if you really want to change me, you may not need, or you may not want to address somebody like that. If what you really want to change me, this is the way to be more helpful. So what you do in that case, you help 10 other people. Because if he did that to you, he probably went to some more people and did the same thing. But where you could have stopped it and changed all of that, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's where we all hold like a responsibility. Sometimes we have to tell people how to talk to us. We have to tell like, hey, I know what your goal is, but that's not going to work if you want us to truly change. You have to teach people how to talk to people. And that's a responsibility. So like Titus for me is that uncle that's going to keep it straightforward and be like, look, this is what it is. I'm like that uncle.
I do have compassion.
No. I think you. No. I think you do, but it's that.
And you
It's
know
one
what?
of those things where when you speak, everybody stop.
Yeah, I to be honest with you, with Nyemade where you are, you know, I have a lot of respect for somebody who is struggling with their weight and acknowledges it. What I have a problem with is an influencer who is struggling with their weight and cries when the camera goes off and tries to act like it's all good, because a kid doesn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an influencer and you're out there and saying, look, man, and one of the first things that gave me a lot of respect for what you had to say, you said it's hard being overweight. It is hard. Okay. And when somebody can acknowledge that, I will give you whatever I need to give you in order to help you get to where you need to be. Because you're acknowledging it's hard. I know it's hard. Let me do what I can do to help you. But when you're out here trying to act like for people who don't understand, for people who don't know what's up, you know, and you're telling them, you know, this, and this is the way to do it, and showing all this brash bravado when that ain't really even what it is. And let's be real, there's a lot of great singers that are overweight, but they don't make their weight their platform. They don't have a name like Adele B. Eaton. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Adele was overweight, and it was what it was. Okay, everybody knew, but guess what? She is a great singer, and no one. And I mean, I'm sure a couple people said something about her weight, but her weight and discussions of her weight was not the issue. And when she lost her weight, she lost her weight. But when you make that somewhat of your platform, right? Now you have a responsibility to explain that and put that in the right context. Because when you don't, you have people who you're influencing taking it the wrong way. You're a plus size person, you put it in the right context, right? And yes, it is a struggle. People think it's a struggle it's a struggle to be fit. It is. Okay? So wherever you are, we all struggle. All right? We all struggle. But when somebody acknowledges the struggle that it is and is trying, all you can do is help them. And for me, I have all the love and compassion for somebody who does that, right? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know, the eating properly and stuff, it's a task, especially when you've done the opposite for a long time. Okay, that's one of the hardest habits to break. So I can understand that. You know, and people, and then, you know, it's about mindset too, because a lot of times people look at people being overweight and they think it's just, oh, these people are lazy, da, da, da. Sometimes there's a lot of other things attached to that. You have abuse, you have trauma, you have all these things. So you just can't judge somebody on their size, right? And think, oh, they're just being lazy. No, there might be something, there usually is something else afloat that you just can't see. So you have to handle that person with love.
Titus, now
but
we want to say
the rules are different.
Yeah.
I like what you're saying. All right now.
All right, so I have to close this. We're gonna do another part 2. I love it. I like this. Titus preaching again. We teachable moment. Feel like this is our Godfather talking. So we're gonna have our closing remarks. Jai, you gonna start first. We're gonna have your closing remark for the show. Yeah, close it, girl. Go ahead. Get your closing remarks. Go ahead.
All right. Hello, you guys. One thing I want to say just in the end, 'cause I know we're closing off real quick, is to let you guys know that recently I did do a video of my loose skin, because I have a lot of loose skin. And in that moment right now, especially with this conversation with you guys, I feel even more comfortable with expressing that side of me, because that was one of my hard tribulations, was being losing the weight but having that excess skin. So just talking to you guys, I just want to say thank you for confirming me and affirming me that what I did was correct.
Nice.
Miss African Butterfly.
My closing remarks are that same thing I started with is that everyone deserves that respect. If I were to go online today, like, yes, we've had this conversation. I've talked about how I'm on a weight loss journey, how I feel about health and fitness and hardness. But if I go online and I want to make a video about like how beautiful I am, I deserve to be able to do that because I am still beautiful. It doesn't negate any of the other things, but I don't, and nobody deserves to have someone go underneath the comments, which I have had, saying mean, awful things about it because they feel like I don't deserve to love myself because I'm bigger. I think that you can reach out to other people. You can express your concern or whatever if you truly know the person and you're truly coming from a place of caring. But everyone deserves to have an existence where they love themselves, whether they want to lose weight or not. Whether they should or not is different. And I, as I said, am more on the side of should. But whether they want to or not, they still deserve to love themselves and they still deserve respect. And that's really part of why I have National Plus Guide is like, even though I'm working to get to a size where I don't need to find restaurants with arms with no chairs or not arms, chairs with no arms and things like that, I still would like to have a way where right now when I need it, I can quickly find that resource. So that's really my thing is that everyone deserves to live their whole existence however they want. The should and the health side and all of that stuff is different, but you can still feel that someone should have all of those things and still respect them in the place that they are and let them love themselves in the place where they are.
Okay, Dwight.
Whoa. So I agree with what everybody said. I would say that life is about being the best you. And in order to be the best you and to become the better you, you have to be honest with yourself and where you are. And be honest with the world. Being honest with the world helps people more than you know. And it's your responsibility, if nothing else, to be honest with the world because you really are changing lives. So, like I said, if you're an influencer and you're putting something out, when the camera goes off, don't do another thing. Be who you are on camera and show the camera who you really are because it will change many lives. But thank y'all. It was dope.
And
Nyemade, you know, a lot of love and respect for the courage that it takes to come out and be honest about who you are, where you are. And, you know, encouragement wise, you know, if it is your goal to lose weight, you've done it before, you can do it again. Just be consistent. But wherever you are at all times, everyone deserves to be loved. Everyone deserves to be respected. And everyone deserves to be accepted. Okay? Because that's how we get better as people. You know, and Jaya, congratulations on your weight loss. Keep going with it. And be comfortable who you are. It is what it is. We all have something. All right? We all have something. Some of our flaws or some of our imperfections are not as visibly obvious. All right? But we all have something. Remember that. You know, at least yours is something minor like weight.
I'm trying.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming on. I'd like to thank for the guests. I definitely gonna do a part 2. Hopefully everybody, Dwight, all of y'all are available at that time. I'm gonna pick the date. It's gonna probably be in April, but like I said, I thank everybody for coming on the show. I thank everybody for watching, commenting. Make sure you tell everybody, subscribe, like, whatever. Just make sure you continue. We're gonna do this every Thursday. 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we're gonna have another conversation next week. We're gonna have a great show. The next topic is gonna be body image over health. Is body image over health? So we're gonna have a great show. We're gonna have a group of women that's gonna be talking about that, and we're gonna have, of course, we're gonna have a part 2 with men as well too. So, like I said, thank you for everybody coming on there. I thank the guests. Thank you for everybody else. And we out.
We stay on
All
this.
right.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, bro. It was dope.
No problem.